Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome back to today's lesson. Okay, so we will continue with what we did last week. I will, yeah, we will continue with what we did last week. So, looking at last week wise action. We have this, okay. So here, from last week perspective, here is a bearish order flow. The reason is we had a high and we had a low. Price came straight to the downside to break the low to create an even lower low. So now this is bearish. After a swing break of structure, we are expecting a swing pullback. This swing pullback that we are expecting can pull back from anywhere. But we don't get the true swing pullback until we get an internal break of structure. So okay, looking at this, let's calculate this. 32 pips. 32 pips now internal. Let's calculate this pullback. 35 pips. So we had another pullback here. Let's calculate this. 24. So let's say here was the last pullback. So this one is an IBOS, internal break of structure, and this one is a fractal structure. This fractal structure is the first signal that this IBOS, internal pullback is starting. But we also have this IBOS. This is where we get these complex structures. So what is happening here? We can see, although we have swing bullish, this one can be price switching bullish to facilitate the pullback into this. For us to get this, and when we switch bearish, we can assume that this low is weak because it failed to close above the structure, and we will continue to take the weak structure right from mitigating this area. So purely from market structure perspective, we have, let's say we have the swing range here, we have the internal, and then we have the fractal. By looking at this, you can also identify here to be an internal. So we have internal, and we have the fractal. The fractal is the little pullback that we have, and this one will be this pullbacks within. So here we are trading the internal. The main internal is bearish, but the internal is bullish. We can be pushing up to the upside until we mitigate our major range. Because looking at this, here is the main range, right? Price moved impulsively. We moved impulsively to the upside, positive to the downside. positively again to the upside and positive to the downside. So the last buy to sell is candle. So looking at this, the only zone we have is this wicks here, this wick zone here. So we are expecting a swing pullback, this swing pullback, right? Looking at what is happening here, we can only get the swing pullback when this eyeballs, this main internal record. So this one will be break of structure, a boss. So this one is the eyeball, this one is internal, right? So looking at this from the swing structure perspective, we are expecting pullback into where? Into EQ. Let's see, into EQ, or possibly into premium, for price to be well priced for us to continue the move. So now price hasn't really tapped into my EQ yet. We haven't tapped into my EQ yet, but we can be continuing to buy until we hit our POI. When we break this, we will expect a pullback, which will be a mitigation of this range. And if we change character or we break a structure, we can be switching the range into, let's say, our main range here, right? We can be switching the range into our main range here, and we will continue the move. But the framework of how we do things is where we have to bring in this thing, because you have this sweep zone here. So here we have a sweep. So we have a sweep zone here, right? A sweep zone. We are moving to the downside. If we are buying and we swept this liquidity, the probability of price coming down is high, and in this case we came down strongly, right? We rebalance price. This is when we sweep liquidity and we sweep demand. We moved impulsive and we are having this pullback. Looking at what is happening here, this one is the main bullish range, right? The last bullish high that got broken, had the failed reaction, and this one is the eyeballs. It moved strong to the upside, right? So we are trading within this fractal, or within this eyeballs here, right? Let's see, because although it is a fractal structure, I will also classify it to be an eyeballs, and when we break this, Oh. Okay, and when price breaks this, it doesn't mean this one is weak necessarily. Although it hasn't broken the structure, it means this one is switching bearish to facilitate this pullback, right? To continue. So we serve liquidity, we have moved to the downside. We've mitigated, yes, we've mitigated 4-hour flip sweep demand zone. So we were expecting, okay, so now if you are going to sell, these are the zones you'll be looking for to do it from. Or when these zones break, then we can be looking forward to sell from any of these zones when price moves to the downside. But as I've already explained, price can be switching bearish to facilitate the pullback. So we classify all of this to be one big move, and this one can be the pullback for this, or how this one can be the pullback. Before we continue, maybe we will continue the move, we will break this. So on the 15 minutes, you can see this is one swing move. This is the 15-minute swing structure. The fractal structure is still bearish, so 11 pips. Cool. Well, this is a very small range, very tight range. So looking at this, I will use so you can see here is where we switch the fractal structure. Here was my here was my internal structure, and here was the fractal structure. So when fractal structure switched bearish, when the internal structure switched bearish, what I knew was I had this demand here. We were switching bearish to facilitate the pullback. The main structure is bullish, so the internal structure is bearish, right? When price is within here, when we break the internal, this one is phase B. When we are selling from here, this is pro internal, but it is counter swing, so we can be selling from here and target these lows, right? Pro internal from here. This is happening around 5 o'clock from this zone. So pro internal and target this low. And when we break this, there is a clear signal that this low is weak, and we can be scaling in until this low goes, right? So we can follow this internal structure until the internal structure switches bullish again. Now, this is the first demand failure. We have multiple demand failures here, but this one led to a break of structure, blah blah blah. You can see here was the major zone that we're looking for. We also had multiple zones here. We had this zone, which was it got melted through. All of these zones have been liquidated, and now price turned around from this zone. Aside this one, all of these zones have been mitigated. All of these zones have been mitigated. So looking at what is happening here, if price continues to break this one, then we can, I think this one will be my fractal structure. Why? Because here is the last candle that failed to break below the candle's low. So we moved to the upside and moved strongly to the downside. We came back to close above here, right? To close above here. So then here became a fractal low, and here became a fractal high. So we've changed character. Here. We had this supply region here. It got swept. We didn't have any flip zone. So looking at what is happening, we have three type structures. We have fractal, internal, swing. What we have here is we have our swing structure, which is this big move here. This one is internal structure, but here within this internal structure we have this fractal structure. So we can see that this fractal structure is switching bullish. To facilitate this internal structure, let me use different color for the fractal structure. Let me use yellow. So here, okay. So the black zone is our swing zone. Yellow for the internal. Right. So this one is our internal structure. We moved strong impulsive to the upside. So we're trading within here. After we got this break of structure, move straight to the downside, move straight to the upside, strong to the downside. Now we're breaking below. Oh no. Let me use as internal. So the yellow as internal. So you can see how this big move here. Here is the internal low. Let me calculate this. So this is 4 pip. No, they are not classifiable as fractal, as internal. These are fractal structures. So we moved impulsive, we moved to the downside, then we moved impulsive, right? And price moved to the downside. So here was the last low. We closed below this. Now we're trading within this fractal structure. Price it whatever I want to do. You move to the downside. So still we were trading within this. This was just a fractal structure, trading within the internal structure. So we were switching bearish. We were switching bearish to facilitate this pullback into here. So when price came into this zone, here was a fractal range within this internal structure of this swing structure. So of this swing structure. We've mitigated this. We've broken our IBOS. We put back into premium. Sorry, we put back into discount. We've changed character. We have unmitigated extreme. Still, you have to keep in mind that this is a 4-hour change of character, 4-hour strong structure that we are trading from. So here you can see this one is the internal structure. This is the internal structure. So we have this internal structure that led to a break of this structure. This is the internal. This one internal move. So we've changed character, we've moved to the downside. We are having demand change. Price is already moving. So here can be the target, right? We've already changed character. So we can assume that this internal pullback is ending, and the swing, this one is continuing. But we don't get that until this low breaks. We don't get that until this high. Until this high breaks. So when this high breaks, if a candle body close, then we can trade from that zone, because this one we can classify this as internal. Switching bullish to facilitate the pullback for this, because you can see that this is a strong internal, this is just a pullback, and we're switching, you can continue. So price is moving to the upside. Let's see. Price can continue to move and break. So this one has already been mitigated. So looking at this, you can see that we have this. We will expect first demand failure, first supply failure, and this one will be a flip zone where if price continues to break this, when price comes back into this, we can look forward to take this setup and continue the move. Because you know that this internal is switching bearish. It facilitates the pullback. So this is the last low that we don't expect price to break. If price breaks this, then means the internal pullback has ended and the swing continuation is continuing. You can continue the move. And this is just on the 4 hour. This is just on the 15 minutes. The 4 hour, you can see we have already mitigated this, right? So if this one was just switching bullish to facilitate the pullback. So if this continues to switch bearish from, okay, so here you can see you have this low. If this one breaks this, we haven't switched bearish yet. It means we are still within this bullish swing range and we can continue the move. But when price breaks below this, then we can assume that this low is weak because it failed to even close above this with a candle body close, right? And we can look forward to take some opportunity. And when price switches bullish, we can assume say no, this high is weak because this one it failed to break this. We've changed character and we can continue the move to the upside. So here price can continue the move to break this because we've already had our mitigation. We've changed our character. We've pulled back. We've had demand mitigation, multiple demand moves. We switched bearish, which is to remove the impulsive, correctively remove the impulsive, and we switch bearish. It is what we call strong liquidation, giving us a fake break. So we don't expect this side to break. If this side breaks, you can expect this low to go and you can continue the move. And this one is supposed to happen on the 5 minutes. So you see, we are having great move. We are expecting this side to break as it has happened. If price close with a candle body close on the 15 minutes and we close this with a candle body close, we can look forward to getting from here when we get to the pullback. Because here's the last demand range how we are expecting price to do turn around from. So we've broken this with a candle body close. So this one will be 8 pips. When price comes into here, I will be 5. If I target the highs, it will be 6. So let's go back to the 15 minutes. So looking at this, we've had flip here. So this one, you see, in essence, it is liquidity burden. We can be continuing the move, and I've missed it. Cool. But if you pull back into here, I can continue the move to the upside because now we've had our change of character and we've had our eyeballs, because we broke this, had this impulsive move that led to a break, and we've changed character. So we can be switching bullies to facilitate the pullback into this. But we weren't expecting this to break. So looking at this pullback, 20 something pullback, 20 something pips. So price is moving impulsive, quite impulsive to the upside. You can see the move has already begun. If price will pull back, cool. If price don't, we continue the move. Let's go. Today is just Monday, and we have multiple opportunities during the week and more weeks to come. Okay, so this is the zone I'll be looking for it to, because we've had a flip. If price close above here, oh. Oh,